What's up everyone? So today for you, I have some stuff on how to trick yourself into better habits. I want to go over a little bit about how sometimes bad habits are formed and then what you can do to change them. These are some scientific ways that they have found based on neuroscience and psychology that you can start to break some of those bad habits maybe that have been really difficult. So as usual, if you don't really care about the background, the problem and all that, just skip ahead to the timestamp where I put the solutions to this. Okay. All right, so one of the things that's really important to understand when you're trying to break bad habits is the idea of instant gratification. Um, it's also helpful to understand the idea of instant gratification and delayed gratification when it comes to trying to find more effective coping skills for a lot of different mental health symptoms. So instant gratification provides a very temporary alleviation of negative feelings, but it comes at a cost. Behaviors that lead to instant gratification, they often do so because they produce this high that they temporarily increase your feelings of well-being and happiness. But as we know, everything that goes up must come down. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And often the down takes the person below their normal threshold level. So, you can see some examples of these like sort of compulsive shopping, drugs, including alcohol, food-like products. So these are things that taste really good but have really no nutritional value. Gosh, I love baked goods and sweets and desserts, but they're packed with sugar and they probably don't have a whole lot of nutritional value to them. Other snack cakes and basic junk foods. Procrastination, sometimes it just feels so good not to do anything. You just like to sit there and just watch Netflix or whatever it is. Of course, gambling, and then sex. So, but it's not all bad news. As you can see, there are many behaviors that do produce fairly instant good feelings, but they don't have the accompanying crash that comes. And this is the sweet spot. These are some of those middle of the ground behaviors that are healthy and they feel really good. Things like yoga and music, breathing practices, journaling, meditation. And then for some of these ones that are more delayed gratification, things like saving money, examining and challenging negative thought patterns, practicing assertiveness, when people frustrate you, speaking up and telling people that you're frustrated, remaining committed to a goal, and healthy eating. Again, delayed gratification are things that in the moment they always don't feel that good, but in the long term of your life, they're really contributing to your overall health and well-being. So for some of these that are the delayed gratification, find a way to incorporate little ways to reward yourself along the way. Okay, so let's get into the solutions. This is some of the problem. Let's get right into some of the solutions for how to break some of these bad habits. If you're struggling with some of this instant gratification, we're going to get into how to interrupt that and form some new good habits. So one of the first things to do is to understand your resistance. So we just went over that a little bit. We went over a little bit how some of the resistance is that instant gratification, it just feels good, and it's harder to do some of the things that take longer. They don't provide that instant quick relief. But again, understand your resistance. What makes this new habit difficult? And what are the specific barriers that you're going to have to work through? Meaning, what do you get kind of out of the current state? What do you get out of the current habit? Okay, and one of the ways that you can really start to take a good look at what is my resistance to changing is your reasons not to change the habit. So we could use something like smoking. Let's take that one for example. Smoking cigarettes. Good things about keeping things the same. What are the good things about smoking? What do I like about smoking? Maybe it breaks up my day. It eases my social interactions with people, It gives me something kind of to do. Hey, I get to take a break at work because many people who don't smoke, they don't get to take breaks. They don't get to take smoke breaks, but because I smoke, I get to take more breaks. So those are some examples of good things about the habit that you're struggling with. And then The other part is it's important for you to understand not so good things about changing this problem. So what are the difficult things going to be about changing? It could be that, stopping smoking is difficult. You're going to have to deal with the withdrawal. You're going to have to deal with the headaches, the irritability. You're going to have to deal with the cravings. So these are difficult things. These are reasons that I have not to change. You could also do the reasons to change as well for whatever the habit is. For smoking, it could be, it's going to improve my health. I'm going to feel better. I'm going to breathe better. I'm not going to smell like cigarettes. And then good things about changing this problem could be, I just will feel overall better about myself, etc., etc. So the next thing that is important to understand is that our emotions impact free will. Our emotions impact our decision-making processes. And if our emotions are out of whack, it's going to be harder to follow through on some more difficult habits. So it's really important to find a way to sort of regulate your emotions. A good place to start for regulating your emotions is taking a look at the 4 pillars of health, and I have some other videos on that. Real quickly, they are healthy eating or nutrition, stress management, exercise, and sleep. So starting there and trying to improve all those things is a good way to manage your emotions so that your emotions don't influence your decision-making process in trying to form some of these new habits. All the other stuff I'm about to share now comes from the Huberman Lab podcast. I'll put a link to it in the description below. It's really good if you're really into all the neuroscience and all that stuff. I encourage you to check it out. But I've kind of extracted some of the main takeaways and the main points, the practical things that you can use to actually form these new habits. So another good thing to do if you're trying to break a habit is once you catch yourself actually acting out on the habit again, you say, maybe you're trying to start smoking and you said, ugh, I did it again. I went out and had another cigarette. That's okay. Just whatever you're trying to replace the habit with, just do it directly after. Go ahead and start using the replacement habit anyways. And that'll help to kind of extinguish this old one and bring in the new one. And sometimes it takes time. Many of us, I think, aren't so lucky that we just cold turkey and we just stop doing something. I know for me, when I quit smoking, it was a process. I'd, use the vape, smoke some cigarettes for a little while, and go back and forth until eventually it was completely out of my life. So if you catch yourself in the middle of a bad habit, recognize it, stop, and then begin practicing what you're trying to replace it with. The next thing in trying to form new habits is to mentally review all the steps of the new habit. So this sort of primes the neural circuits. It gets your brain ready to sort of act out on those. So for example, if you're someone and you're trying to start a habit of going to the gym, what you'll want to do is you'll want to mentally just review all the steps that you'll need in order to go to the gym and go through each one. But it's very important to also visualize yourself overcoming your resistance. Visualize yourself feeling the long day of work and not wanting to go, but going anyways. And then also visualize the reward that you're going to get afterwards. Visualize that you're going to feel better having gone, your body's going to feel better, and you're going to feel better about yourself. The other thing about forming these new habits has to do with kind of solidifying them into our brains and creating the new neural circuits that are needed to keep these habits going and to keep them established. So you want to incorporate the most difficult, newest habits into the first part of the day, meaning the first 8 hours after you wake up, you want to try to put that new habit into there. I know that's not always possible for some of us, depending on our work schedule, but if it's possible, if you're able to get up and go to the gym in the morning, this is a new difficult habit, that would be the best time to do it to get some momentum going on that habit. It's going to trick your brain into being more focused and more motivated to do the habit every day. So in the second part of the day, meaning between 8 to 14 hours after you're waking, you want to incorporate some of your more relaxing, easier habits, maybe some habits that you started a while back that you want to still maintain, but they're not as difficult for you. And you also want to make sure that you're incorporating some habits in here that have to do with non-sleep relaxation. These are things like, could be like yoga nidra or meditation or just taking some quiet time, listening to music, something that's starting to calm you down from the day. To really solidify these new habits in the last phase of the day, meaning 16 to 24 hours after you wake up, You want to really be getting your body ready for sleep. Sleep is really going to be important in getting these new habits into your system. So you want to start turning the lights down low. You want to start cutting the temperature back, making sure your body's getting cooled down. And you want to create a really regular sleep pattern, meaning you go to bed at the same time and you wake up at the same time. Okay, and then the very last trick that you can kind of do is once this new habit is in place, you can move it around to different times of the day to even further solidify it. So maybe for the gym, for example, you started going in the morning. Well, then maybe you start going after work one day, and then you go in the morning the next day, and then maybe you go late into the evening another day, and then maybe on the weekends you go around lunchtime. So shifting the habit around to different parts of the day is going to be something, again, that helps you feel like you have the motivation to carry out and to do these habits. So that's all for today. I hope you got a lot out of it, and I'll see you next time.